The Chief Justice of India, Justice Chandrachud, has slammed the West Bengal government and the Kolkata police and announced the setting up of a national task force to look into the safety concerns of healthcare workers. I'm Barkha Dutt. You're with the Mojo Story. In a special Supreme Court hearing earlier today, a case that had been taken up suo motu on its own by the Supreme Court, Justice Chandrachud had scathing questions and comments for the response of the Kolkata police and the West Bengal government. In particular, he had harsh words for the attempts to protect the now ousted principal of the RG Kaur College, where the rape and murder of a young doctor took place, triggering nationwide protests. He also questioned how the police could allow on its watch the entry of a mob of a few thousand people to vandalize the RG Kaur College. He said, how is this even possible? He questioned why there was a delay in the registering of the FIR. Why was a murder complaint not filed that very night? And he warned the West Bengal government to not, quote unquote, unleash its power, its state power on peaceful protesters. He's also appealed to protesting doctors to call off their agitation. We are awaiting word on what the doctors community will decide. But it has been a very, very long and important hearing in the Supreme Court today. Kapil Sibal, senior lawyer, appeared for the West Bengal government, but Justice Chandrachud did not relent. The bench led by him was also shown a copy of the postmortem, even as questions are being asked on the ground in West Bengal as to why the postmortem was conducted at the very same place where the rape and murder took place. A lot to talk about. Let me introduce our guests on the program today. Let me welcome our guests to the program. Joining us on the program is Sanjay Hegde, senior advocate. Let me welcome him to the program. Welcome to the program. We're also joined by Dr. Manav Jaiswal. Welcome to the program, Dr. Jaiswal. And we're also joined by Radhika Bhattacharya, senior leader of the BJP. Welcome everybody to the program. And I can also see Dr. Sukanya there. Dr. Sukanya, if you can hear me, just say something. Can you hear me? Your signal's really terrible.
Yeah,
I can see two young doctors. That's Dr. Sukanya. And Sukanya, who's sitting with you? Who's sitting with you?
Dr. Divyansh. He is
Okay.
Dr. Divyansh.
So Dr.
Myself,
Got it.
Myself, Dr. Divyansh. I'm president of RDA KGMU and the secretary of RDA Uttar Pradesh.
Thank you so much. Welcome to Dr.
Hello,
Divyansh and Dr. Sukanya. Yes, hang on. Welcome to the program. And let me start with Sanjay Hegde, because Sanjay Hegde, senior advocate, actually appeared for one of the petitioners who went to the Supreme Court. Sanjay, break it down for us. Some of us watched it live. That in itself was very interesting. Usually what's live streamed from the Supreme Court are constitutional benches. Obviously, Justice Chandrachud wanted the country to watch with full transparency what was unfolding in the court. If you had to look at the importance of what happened today, if you had to look at the main points, Sanjay, what would you say they were? It was a very feisty session. Justice Chandrachud had some very tough questions. I didn't think that the West Bengal representation had answers to all of them. What stood out for you in the court proceedings today, Sanjay Hegde?
What stood out for me was the court's deep concern that these incidents against doctors and against women in the workplace were getting out of hand. See, there is the West Bengal incident, the RG Kaur incident, which is extremely painful. That is one aspect. Justice Chandrachud's order, if you notice, also refers to other incidents. So, firstly, he wants the safety of all medical personnel, and especially the young and the females who are part of the medical force, including doctors and nurses at various hospitals all over the country. And how is that safety to be assured? That's why the National Task Force of 10 people, 10 very eminent physicians and doctors, of which 4 are women. I actually sat there and counted. So it is the court's institutional response to a growing problem. They recognize that the doctors have a problem. They also recognize that if the doctors are driven only to agitation and to staying away from work, then the consequence is upon patients, and especially patients who cannot afford private care. So the court has appealed to the doctors saying, look, we have your back. We are covering it. And it was, I was appearing for a lawyer who had filed a petition seeking many of the reliefs which were granted in this interim order. And we also made a point about protesters not being curbed by state power. So all in all, I think the broad framework is countrywide, but the narrow focus on the RG car incident has not been lost. And that is where all those keen, incisive questions were asked of the West Bengal government. The West Bengal government had its own version. It handed over a note. That note, the bench read, but they did not seem to take too many questions from there. There was another email which was sent by some of the doctors, which was also handed over to the judges in a sealed cover, and that they took rather serious notice of. So there is one situation in Calcutta in the RG Kar Institute, and then there is the nationwide situation. So this is both broad focus as well as narrow focus.
Okay, I want to also welcome Yogita Bhayana to the program. She's a gender rights activist with special focus on sexual violence. Welcome, Yogita. Sanjay, I have one more question to you before I play out a clip from the court proceedings. The Chief Justice had very specific questions, and I was very glad to hear them asked so specifically, pertaining to the role of the now ousted principal who was protected by the state government. Instead of losing his job, he was actually transferred. When he was transferred to another college, I'm talking about Sandeep Ghosh. This is the man on whose watch this rape and murder takes place. The college then tells the family it is suicide. He's suspected of cover-up. Students, doctors say he victim shamed and victim blamed, but he doesn't get sacked. He gets transferred, and he has a government lawyer defend him in court in the Calcutta High Court. And today, the Chief Justice wanted to know what was behind the protection of this man. Did you think the West Bengal government was really able to answer the questions that were raised by the Chief Justice, Sanjay Hegde?
No, as far as this particular person or what protection he had, I don't think the West Bengal government wanted to that matter to be discussed at great length. They assured the Chief Justice that the man was now out of a job because the High Court had already said that he should be put on wait or he should be sent on leave. So to that extent, this was a professional call by Mr. Sibal, possibly to ask the court to concentrate on other issues and assure the court that as far as this person was concerned, it was no longer tenable to keep protecting him and keep him in position, as it were, or in any position where he could possibly influence the investigation.
So, okay, I want to play. Yeah. So I want to play out the first of the clips from the Supreme Court proceedings. This is the Chief Justice actually asking why the FIR that night when the body of this young doctor is discovered, why is a FIR for rape and murder not registered, and why is it not filed by the principal of the college? And take a look at what Kapil Sibal says on behalf of the West Bengal government. Take a look.
The crime was detected in the early hours of the morning.
Yes, yes. No, indeed.
After the crime was detected in the early hours of the morning, the principal of the hospital tries to pass this off as a suicide.
Not true, not true, not true.
Her parents are not allowed to see the body. The parents are not allowed to see the body for almost.
No, Malad, this is, I'm sorry. Anyway, Malad, this is the impression.
Our investigation
we'll have to place the facts before your lordships. We have investigated that. This is not correct.
So, until late night, we find that no FIR was registered.
That's also not correct. Not correct.
What time was the FIR registered?
Malad, in fact, we did what is called what we call a UD case, Malad.
UD case.
Unnatural death case registered.
Yes, unnatural death case
registered.
But
immediately.
That's right.
That's an FIR, Malad. That's an FIR.
Not the body is discovered.
The UD case the FIR registered formally in the police.
Malad's inquest was done and then FIR registered immediately and the investigation started.
What time
Should have been done.
the FIR registered?
12, Malad. 12:30.
Does the FIR say that this is a case of a murder?
No.
Yes, yes.
No, no,
No, my lord.
unnatural death. It was
We have something.
Unnatural death.
So, Sanjay, before I open this up for our eminent panel, the fact is that Mr. Sibal first said it was registered. Yogita, we're just going to mute you at our end. Just don't open your mic because there's some noise coming. Sanjay, the first time he asks, he says the FIR was registered. Then it turns out it was an unnatural death case. The principal is not the person who files this FIR. This principal is then protected by the state government. When he's transferred to another college, the students don't allow him to come in. But two TMC politicians come in to try and convince the students to accept him. So, Sanjay, before I open this up, the response of the West Bengal government, what did you make of it?
As far as the court response is concerned, I would not want to comment on a fellow professional. But as far as the Bengal government's response is concerned, or the administrative response at the end of the college is concerned, it was shocking. It was sorely lacking in human empathy. And it was the usual attitude of let's try and cover it up, let's try and brazen it out, let's not plead guilty. So it is, once you take those positions, then when there is a forensic examination in court, there is very little that the lawyers can do. At that stage, see, if it had been a principal who had been really concerned about what happened on his watch, he should have been the first person to go there and say, this is not an unnatural death. Please file a murder FIR. And if the body was found in a half-nude state, it was pretty obvious you could even have said, I suspect this has happened. Please file an FIR under the appropriate sections and take. He was busy trying to cover up, and that's what is. And then possibly there may have been lower level politicians of the ruling party and people who think that they can run the pada and then therefore they can run everything out there. Especially in the light of what happened across the border in Bangladesh, administrations should know that if you are not proactive at that particular point of time when the populace is grieving, then you run the risk of being totally at the mercy of events that follow.
Absolutely. Let's open this up. Let me get in the TMC and the BJP, and then we'll come to Yogita and the young doctors who are with us. Radhika, if I may start with you. From the BJP's perspective, the court has been very scathing vis-a-vis West Bengal, vis-a-vis the Kolkata police, but it's also looked at the larger issue of a national task force. Doctors are also talking about a pending legislation that will offer them protection. That is in the hands of your party to actually bring into parliament in the next session. When you have followed the court proceedings, will you now feel that everything that had to be said and asked in this case has been said and asked? Are you hopeful or more hopeful now of justice being served? Radhika?
It's a good thing that everything has got exposed the way it should have been. We know that Bengal is not a natural state. When I use the word natural, I mean that it is ruled by a despotic leader. We know that there's no concern for human rights in Bengal at all. Ever since the Mamata government has come in 2011, we have seen the way Bengal has deteriorated, where the Gunda Raj exists, where people, the common man, has no say because he lives in fear. He lives in fear of the consequences to his home, to his personal effects, to his family, etc., etc. Now that this has been discussed so well at the Supreme Court, hopefully, once it is passed in the Parliament, we will see some form of decorum in running of these places. If you look at this particular case, from the time, there are so many points one can bring out, from the parents to the victim, to the rape site, to the principal, to the security, to the institution and the people of Bengal. It has been so badly conducted. Parents were misinformed about the death. The victim was raped in a heinous manner. And we should not just discuss this rape. We should also discuss the motive. What motivated them to carry out or pick out on this particular doctor to carry out this grievous crime? Why was the rape site Anybody, even a child would know that if something has occurred somewhere, you stay away from the place. Did they keep the place secure? No. Look at this principle. A man known for his terrible reputation, a man who has indulged in all sorts of corruption, is placed there. And today, we have some doctors here on the panel. Today, people in Kolkata are not afraid to speak anymore because people have come out in droves. It is unprecedented the way the people are now saying, we don't fear Mamta anymore, we don't fear expressing the truth anymore, and hence everything is out in the open. In fact, although it is the background of this whole incident is so terrible, so sad, pathetic, and appalling, it has called for the conscience of the people of Bengal, and really.
Okay.
Mamata Banerjee government now believes that they are going to be able to stop this people's movement on the streets, on the road. This is not about to stop because people are not fearful of this entity called Mamata Banerjee, the Honorable Chief Minister.
Okay. That's quite a big statement, and I should get the TMC to respond to it. Dr. Jaiswal, moving beyond the confrontation between the BJP and the Trinamool Congress, the fact is that the Chief Justice had some very hard questions, and the weakest link in the TMC response. Today I read that there is an investigation into the ousted principal of the Arjikar College, Sandeep Ghosh. The point is, on the very first day, within hours of his resignation, he wasn't sacked. He was transferred, and two party leaders actually came to that college to persuade students to let him come in. It is the students who decided to say, go back to Sandeep Ghosh. And I don't know where Dr. Jaiswal went or vanished just as I was asking him that question. I can see him back there now. Dr. Jaiswal, if you can hear me, do respond.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah.
Barkha,
Yeah, go ahead.
first of all,
Yeah.
I need to tell you what has happened in Bengal, what has happened to that girl, what has happened to that doctor is heinous, shocking, and very disheartening. It is sad. We, the people of Bengal, the people of the country, standing firm with the family and with the vision to have justice for that doctor, for that bitia.
Yeah.
We, as a political party, you know what TMC is and what Mamata Banerjee has done for women empowerment in last so many years. I don't need to have any sermons. I need to give an example. There is a multiple example that what she has done to empower a woman child. Every schemes that what West Bengal government, rotates in the state has to have a woman-centric movement.
But isn't it ironic? Sorry, I'm so sorry to interrupt you, but isn't it ironic that the Trinamool Congress that has always emphasized how many women members of parliament it has, a woman chief minister, the emphasis on these gendered schemes, some of which you have listed right now. I'm just asking you about that principle. Why was your government defending this principle? Why?
No,
What does he know? Why is he so? By the way, this isn't me asking. This is the Calcutta High Court and the Supreme Court of India asking this question. This isn't only Barkha Dutt asking this question.
Barkha. With all honesty, today when we are standing, our moral responsibility, our karma, everything is only one centric point that we have is justice for the girl, justice for the doctor. As far as Ghosh is concerned, I believe, and I can promise you and assure the nation, far stretched, Mamata Banerjee will not spare any misdeeds. Definitely she would not. You know her very well. Her life has been all of struggle, sangharsh, and that is what has inspired millions of women in the country.
Dr. Jaiswal, would you say with respect that this has been mishandled? Are you willing to concede? Look, governments mess up. Sheila Dikshit messed up the Nirbhaya response to the Nirbhaya gang rape. Governments mess up. It would be good to say at this point, we could have handled this better. It's okay to make a mistake and say, yes, we could have handled this better.
See, Barkha, if you talk about the handling of the case, in the first place, when the phone call was made to the local police station, the Tala police station, with the Bharat Nyaya Sanhita, the new, the law instead of the CRPC, it is stated the moment you have a verbal communication with the local police station, and we also have an outpost. In every government hospital, they have a local police outpost. It was already been registered, and immediately the commissioner of police had been into the site. The place was cordoned, everything was sealed. This thing all happened. Not only that, within 24 hours, the culprit, the main prime accused, has been arrested.
Yeah.
Not only that,
Okay.
down 2 days, there's only one chief minister in the country who is a woman. This is the only chief minister in the history of Indian politics, who has visited the family members of the victim and assured them that she's standing by them. And she has done it. I have to ask you,
Tell me about
Barkha, I need
Ghosh.
to ask you one thing.
Tell me about Sandeep. Tell me about Ghosh. Tell me about Ghosh. Do you think
Sanjay
it was a mistake? Do you think it was a mistake to not sack that principal?
See, the principal was transferred, right?
Yes.
What we have to understand is we are not going to defend that person at all. Mistakes or communication lapses has happened. It is very evident. The government, in fact, Didi herself has stated this shouldn't have had happened. If this has happened, it is wrong, and we cannot justify a wrong by explaining it again and again. It is wrong. What we have to come down today is everybody, even the doctors who are sitting there on the dharna. In fact, Ms. Radhika and anybody on the panel, everybody, they only want one thing: is girl child, justice for that doctor. And we have promised it, and we would do that.
I have to thank you for being the first TMC person I've spoken to in multiple days who has at least conceded that mistakes and communication lapses have taken place. Now, I want to, before I come to Yogita and the doctors and back to Sanjay, play out another clip from the court. This is about the vandalism. You see, if there's a crime, then there is a suspected and a perceived cover-up, and then there is vandalism on the very college where this rape and murder takes place. And those are horrific shots. We'll show them to you in just a moment. But the Chief Justice had strong words on how were the vandals allowed to enter RG Corps when police was there. What was the police doing? Take a look.
Thing that the police have to do, namely to protect the crime scene. What are they doing? Allow vandals to enter the hospital.
It's impossible that 7,000 people can gather without the consent. Allow me. 7,000 people can never gather without knowledge or consent of the police. This is not an adversarial litigation. It's not. Therefore, let us not be in denial mode. One girl has lost life by not only the sexual pervert, he's an animal.
After the principal resigns from this medical college,
he's sent to another
he's appointed as a principal of another college.
He doesn't resign. But anyway, be that is
conduct, and the least his conduct is under scrutiny, and he's appointed as a principal somewhere else.
This is all. We have a note on all this misinformation.
It's not for each other. There's a high court order.
The reality. Just show it to you.
Let them file a report.
But just show it to you.
Tomorrow. A couple of things which we would like to do. Well, let's make it very clear. We would want the investigation has been handed over to the Bureau of Investigation.
Yes, done. Yes.
We want CBI to file a status report before this court on Thursday.
Correct.
We will take up the case on Thursday. We want CBI to apprise us on the status of the investigation.
Correct.
The investigation obviously must be at a very sensitive stage so that it's something which will be submitted to the court.
For court's consumption, not for the public.
It's really an investigation update report which will be given to us on Thursday. We will consider the status report on Thursday morning and see where the investigation is proceeding.
Sanjay, before I come to Yogita and Sukanya, just a quick comment there on the import of that moment. One, a status report in 2 days. The National Task Force has to submit its finding in 3 weeks. The court is hoping that the doctors will be assured enough to call off their protest. But here's a key question. There are two key questions. Is there enough evidence to get justice? Because the victim's family alleges that there was a bit of a haste to the cremation. The West Bengal government says the parents chose when to do the cremation. The parents, hang on, Dr. Jaiswal, I'm giving both sides. The parents say, we were lost at that time. There were 3 bodies. Our daughter's body was burned first. I'm saying it was the job of the police, not the family at that time, to say this will be needed for forensics. So that's question one. Question two, there is a perception in Bengal that the vandals, if we could please play those shots, those vandals who came in on the eve of Independence Day, they were coming in to destroy evidence. Now, we are lucky that while the emergency ward of the RG Kar hospital was destroyed, the scene of crime was not. But many people believe that evidence may have already been lost. Sanjay Hegde, therefore, there is an apprehension about whether justice can be served in this case from an investigation prism. What do you say?
Well, the actual incident appears to have been done by somebody who is not economically very highly placed, nor does he appear to be very backed by any party or the other. So I do think that given the situation, and I've also been amicus curiae in the Nirbhaya case. So given the entire situation, I doubt that he will get away. But
if he's the only person, if he's the only person,
and if there are more people, no doubt the CBI will unearth it.
Okay.
Right? There have been just about him being the only person. I was told something, so your viewers must know. See, there is this thing going on social media that it was 115 milliliters of fluid found. It was 115 was the weight of the concerned organs, and it was not that anything else. So the fact that it at this stage, based on the evidence so far, it appears that that person was the sole perpetrator. If investigation goes further, then maybe something else.
Okay. I think that's what Dr. Jaiswal was wanting to clarify. You've already done that. Let's bring in Yogita and Sukanya and Divyansh, and then I'll come back to Radhika and Manav. Yogita, you have worked in this space for years. This is your whole life. I think a number of women are asking how many times more. How many times are we going to go through this? Now, of course, statistically, a woman in India is raped every 16 minutes. But what is, I think, made this another inflection point in our country is the kind of, one, it takes place in a woman's place of work. Two, there is a kind of horrific cover-up. Three, there is a protection of the man on whose watch it happens. Four, when doctors protest, they are vandalized. Five, we have nurses on record from the RG Kar college who were threatened with rape when the mob came in. They were actually told that jaise uske saath hua, aapke saath bhi hoga. So there are many reasons for this to be an inflection point. And sixth, with respect to Dr. Jaiswal, Mamata Banerjee's directives or advisories suggest keeping women doctors away from the night shift, suggest restricting the number of hours women work. This is ridiculous. This is restricting women instead of freeing them up. So I want your response, Yogita.
What will be our response, Barkha? We have seen over the years, we have met on such occasions only. Unfortunately, we met at Hathras as well. So I don't know how to react anymore, because we see Nirbhayas every day, as you also just mentioned. And it hurts you when it comes from a leadership where the woman is leading and they are sending maximum parliamentarians as women. And she was the first one to announce women, that 33% reservation on her own in the party itself. Then it has been declared otherwise. So it feels really heart breaks that she and one of our leader also came up and said why she was there in the seminar room at 3 o'clock. So again, the victim shaming happened. That was another thing. And thanks to these doctors who are really taking it up. Otherwise, we have become immune to such cases. Every single day we will see such cases, but towards the end of the newspaper, and people just will say, okay, now though people have stopped reacting. Earlier people used to ask me about Nirbhaya case. Now they say, okay, another Nirbhaya. Okay. It is a 30 seconds conversation over the coffee with known people, unknown people. So we've become immune as community, as society as well. But now this is the time I would see blessing in disguise here. At least we have seen good protest after Nirbhaya case, and now we need to see some good changes happening. I was appalled to see Mr. Kapil Sibal. He was trying to protect a state government, not even having the facts. He had not even done his R&D. about reading that whether the FIR was registered or not. He had no clue about it. How could you protect a government without the facts you in your hand, and you are depending on the juniors? So the whole attitude is of carelessness, around this whole four-letter word rape is very insensitive. How we deal with it. Mr. Hegde tried to help me in another case where Supreme Court itself now is talking about definitely about monitoring this case watertight and forming a task force. But in Kiran Negi case, in the Uttarakhand Nirbhaya case, they did acquittal. We have discussed that as well. So I mean, I don't know. Some of the cases might see light of the day, but how about other 99.9% cases which go unreported?
I think you've said something so important, Yogita, which is the kind of, how you become numb. When you see these headlines, you become numb. And if this moment is here today where the Chief Justice has taken interest directly, it is thanks to the doctors. It is thanks to doctors like Sukanya and Divyansh. It is thanks to young people who came out and said, we will not let Sandeep Ghosh be our principal. We will not get up. We will take our OPD to the streets if we have to, but we will not give up on this moment. So salutes to the young doctors everywhere across India. You showed an absence of cynicism that people like Yogita and myself, maybe because we've seen so much of this, maybe we are guilty of it sometimes. I want to ask Sukanya and Divyansh what you're feeling today. Are you feeling a little more hopeful, Sukanya and Divyansh? Sukanya, Divyansh, go ahead. Your signal's really bad, but we can hear you hopefully.
Yes,
go ahead.
yes, ma'am. Ma'am, are you able to hear me? Hello, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Hello.
Are we
Hello. Are we audible? Yes. Okay.
Yes.
The thing is that at last, like finally, we are really grateful that Supreme Court has taken this up suo moto and has put forth its points. So we will be continuing our protest, and we will be continuing our fight for the justice of that young lady. The thing is that what exactly happened down there, I cannot comment upon it, because what the eyes does not see, the mind does not know. So I will not be able to comment on what exactly went down there. But this whole incident, it has made us numb, and it has left us speechless, that we would have never imagined something to be happening right inside and medical college. I have been working, I have been a resident like for the past 10 years. I have done it from government colleges, my MBBS, my MD for the past 10 years. But this whole event, it has shaken me, because I have worked here. I have trusted in the system. I have trusted in the hospital system, in the working environment, and have trusted my fellow colleagues and my respected seniors. I have trusted all of them to be my brothers. So I can never imagine such an incident like it has happened this way. And we all stand, like we doctors, I would like to speak on behalf of the entire medical fraternity, that we are standing together. We are standing together as one voice, and we will never rest till justice has been served to that lady, to that young lady.
Ma'am, also like to add a few things. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. So I also like to add a few things. There is this thing, corrective action and the preventive action. What we are doing right now is a corrective action. And when we discuss about whatever the things Chief Justice said, for example, he focused on lack of separate resident rooms. He focused on the security issues. He focused on long duty hours. On the personal account, also would like to address the audience. Okay, this thing we are demanding from the administration, but we have to focus on the audience also, the citizens of this nation. Every time a rape happens, you go, okay, Nirbhaya 2.0. We cannot let this thing continue. The basic sense of humanity that is missing from the nation. We have to sensitize public about that basic sense of humanity. We have to ignite that women need to be respected, and the compassion is getting lost in people. When people comes to us, there is this false propaganda that doctors are gods and everything. If a patient is already in grave, we try our best, but because of that lack of sympathy and that dysregulated emotions of the patients, It's us who suffer. Then Sri Nadda ji said, I think 3 days back, that there is no need of a Central Protection Act for doctors because it's of no use. Sir, I would like to point out a few things. 24/7 into 365 days, just like army professionals, we are working. Then 24/7 with with grave prognosis wala patients, we are working. And when that patient is lost, uska relatives directly attack us. There are no social workers who can look in the period of grief and who can console him. Then number third,
Yeah.
after 36 to 72 hours of continuous duty, we are not in a physical and mental state of self defense. Then after that,
Yeah.
we don't even have proper escape routes from the hospitals. When the patient or its relative attack on us, we directly get attacked, and we have
Yes.
nothing for our protection, we
Yeah.
just go to the government after that whenever such incidents happen. They,
I,
please help us, please
I,
help us. So we
I hear
do
you.
need a Central Protection Act for us.
Okay. I'm going to
So
put that to the,
at the end of the
I
day,
have
like
a,
what I would like to add is,
yes. Okay. Go ahead, Sukanya. Go ahead.
yeah, what I would, yes, okay. What I would like to say is, like whatever my colleague has said, basically we are all humans. The thing is, we might be medical professionals, or you're from, or you're a lawyer, or you're an accountant. You could be from any profession, but finally we are all humans. The thing is, we should also be taken into consideration as humans, and this is what we are doing for the sake
So,
of humanity,
so, so I,
rather than the
so
medical
I want to,
fraternity. We are all one whole as humans here.
so I want to ask both Sukanya. 1 minute. I want to ask Sukanya and Yogita a question. Sukanya, one of the responses has been no night shifts or avoid night shifts for women doctors. Would you like to comment on that?
Yes, definitely. The thing is that now it has been 78 years since we achieved independence. So the thing is that we have been progressing, and we are trying to say that there is women empowerment, and women are today women are there in all sections of the society. They are leaders. They are not just a part of the society. They are even leaders today. So even I have done, since the past 10 years, I have been doing 72-hour shifts. I have been doing 48-hour shifts. So it is this, I have been doing this for the sake of the society. I would like to say that all women in the medical profession, we have all been doing this for the sake of the society. So I
Yeah.
would never agree with this, that we should reduce our time. So always it is that it is a shaming that is done like towards women. So I would never agree
That
that we should reduce
yeah.
the
Can
working
I,
hours. Yes.
I thank you for
I
saying
would
this
like to
because
add one more
Yogita,
thing, ma'am.
अच्छा, okay, बोलिए.
Just one
Yeah.
more thing, ma'am. So the thing is not that women should not be like deployed for 24 hours duty. It's more about that when they are on duty, they become the soft target for the people like these. Okay, what for the
Of
people
course.
like
Of course.
these
Of course.
people who
Hooligans.
attacked and who bully us. Okay, so we need more
Absolutely.
security. And when you talk
Absolutely.
about 24-hour duty,
Absolutely.
we need more security. Also, there is
Okay.
this
Can
thing,
I?
ma'am, that there is unmet expectations in limited resources. They just
Yeah.
say that doctors are not helping, doctors are not this. We don't even have proper resources. Patient comes, he googles, oh, this is the treatment, and if this
Yeah.
treatment works, the patient will be saved. Oh sir, you have to
So
look at
I
the
want
stats
to.
also, if the treatment is
I
like valid or not.
I'm sorry I'm interrupting you, but I have to go to the others.
Yes.
Yogita, as one of our audience members writes here, uh, uh, as, isn't asking women not to work during the night an admission of an inability to protect, right? So I think that's the point that Sukanya and Divyansh just made. Sukanya, sorry, can I just get Yogita and then I'll come back to you? I was sorry to cut you short, but I just want to get Yogita also to respond and the others, and I promise I'll come back to you. Sorry to cut you short. Yeah, go ahead,
this is
Yogita.
this is I think it's the most bizarre kind of argument that women should stop working in the night. Rather, we should have more and more women coming forward. We should claim the night which we have been deprived of for years. As Sukanya also
Yeah.
just said, we have got independence. We just celebrated our Independence Day, but not for women. We have to claim the night, and rather than reducing the number, it will aggravate the problem. Rather, increase the number of women working the night shifts. The other day also in a restaurant in Delhi, only girl was working, and at 3 o'clock she took a bus. there are no safety provisions, there are no audits. So I think rather government should give us the protection, have night buses or night transportations like Nirbhaya suffered because of the transportation. Address those issues rather than covering it up and saying, do not go out in the night. Give us the safety which you are supposed to give. And rest, of course, we also have a role to play here. But government side, I think it is stupid.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Dr. Jaiswal, why has the directive or the advisory from the West Bengal government, there are some good points in it or long overdue points in it, but there are 2 points that are very problematic. One is restricting the number of working hours for women doctors to 12. The second is avoiding women on the night shift. You just heard Sukanya and Divyansh, Dr. Sukanya and Divyansh speak. This is not the point. This is the exact opposite of the agitation. The agitation was about reclaiming the night. The agitation was about no matter what time, no matter what space, my place of work should be safe for me. This is yet another obstacle to the career ambitions and the career trajectories of women, Dr. Jaiswal.
Barkha, some things have been twisted. The statement was not like that. It was for the time being, reduce the women team at the moment. But what we have done is we have brought in Ratire Sathi, which is actually a companion for, woman companion for the night shifts. Why has been done that? Not only that, there has been a mobile app. There have been a lot of contingency plans which has been taken into place. We are the only state which has got the maximum number of women-oriented police stations, all women police stations. We are the only state and a city.
So send them to the hospitals. Send them to the hospitals.
Barkha, we have an outpost. Now we have done one thing. We have added women-oriented police officers and security system in the outpost itself. Every hospital, every general hospital that we have in the state has a police outpost, which is already there in place. What we had also done is now we have increased the number of women security personnel, which is very important. And what we have done is we did not vision this thing to happen. Sorry, Barkha, we did not vision this.
But why are we restricting women? Restrict the men.
No, it is no, Barkha. It is just temporary. Just temporary. Once we are getting everything on place, the numbers are see, we are the only state where the women have been always safe. Calcutta has been adjudicated the safest city in the country year after year, year after year. It is not only because of the administration, it is also because of the the approach that the people, the citizen of Calcutta, basically the Calcuttans take it. If we see anything happening which is discreet, which is out of the box, we take stand. Everybody in Bengal, they take a stand. We just don't go and sit down. Every protest which has actually been in India has come out of Bengal. You know that, Barkha. We have never shied away from our responsibilities. Our Netri, Mamata Banerjee will never shy away. The Padyatra was not only for the girl child. It was also to make aware to the public that the political vendetta which is happening from these two political parties, just like a scavengers, they are addressing this. This is what we are. This is what we are against.
I'll get Radhika to respond in just a moment. Yogita, I saw that you had a brief interjection. Do go ahead, Yogita Bhayana.
He said they have cut down the women workforces for time being. I'm sorry, this is even more regressive, and I have no words to explain. Why do you even justify this? I mean, are you paying them salaries? Why women should suffer? You will not be paying them salaries for these non-working days. Why women are suffering all the time whenever something happens? Rather, Barkha ji rightly said, why can't you tell men to be at home? Why women are only going to be suffering as professionals? It will discourage. You understand that whosoever has taken the decision should definitely work on it. For timing means you understand there is a problem with the safety. It means you understand there are more rapists around the city. You understand that. That is the reason you have stopped women from working. You understand? I think you're multiplying the problem. You're not solving the problem. Whatever reasoning you have, it's stupid.
I have to say, Dr. Jaiswal, I agree totally with Yogita here.
No.
I agree with Divyansh.
I need to add. Barkha, please.
Your response.
The number of people on the street.
Can I say something? Can I say something before you respond? Your response to a rape and a murder of a woman at her place of work cannot be to restrict the working hours of women. This is completely counterintuitive. It is paternalism. It is infantilizing women, Dr. Jaiswal. With respect, I know you have an unenviable job right now as a TMC spokesperson, but this is not on, sir. Now, please, brief response. I have to go to Radhika and Sanjay and then give the last word to Sukanya and Divyansh. Yes, Dr. Jaiswal.
Two things. First of all,
Yes.
it is a contingency approach. It is temporary. Temporary. It is not going to extend. Second thing, if you go to any protest which you see today, what's happening in Pan India, you have more men coming after for this particular crime. Men are always there. One man has done something wrong. That does not crucify every man on earth. He's
Nobody
a criminal.
Crucified men.
Let's not do that.
Men.
You
There
just
is a
told
man
men to be put behind, in the rooms, or probably they should stay back home. That's what she said.
Let me respond there. Let me respond here. Firstly, there is a young man sitting in solidarity with Dr. Sukanya. His name is Dr. Divyansh. We are not saying, men have been central to this protest. What we are saying is, if you can't assure women's security from men who abuse power in the form of sexual violence, then find a way to restrict the movements of men, not the movements of women. Because you are saying as a temporary measure, you cannot take responsibility for the security of women professionals. So therefore, abhi aap thoda jaldi jaiye ghar. That is what you're saying to women. Go back home early. Dr. Jaiswal, this is not acceptable.
No, Barkha, we are not saying that.
It is not acceptable.
We are not saying that.
It is not acceptable. It is not acceptable.
Security system is always in place. Now listen, once you're adding us more of security system in place, which has happened just till now, we are working on it. What else can we do? We don't have a magical wing and hand. We can just not go in a click of the fingers. It takes time. And what is taking time? It's a temporary adjustment. We all do temporary adjustment for everything in the day-to-day life, right? So it is for the society at large, and we are working hard for it, and we are not compromising.
Like I said, you do not have an enviable role right now. You're brave to come out and speak in these circumstances. So I appreciate your attempt. But Radhika, I have some tough questions for you also. The case is now with the CBI, right? Whatever we had to, we have all lambasted the Kolkata police. I have fought with them on social media. They even sent a threat to sue me. We have all been very critical. Now it is in the hands of the CBI. Now the CBI must give us answers. The answers we were seeking from the Kolkata police. Now you must give us answers, right? Radhika, now there are two things with the BJP now. The CBI reports to the center, so the CBI must give answers. And the demand of the doctors for a legislation, it is up to the BJP-led government in Delhi to bring such a legislation. Do please respond.
Of course, the BJP will do everything that it can to bring in the legislation. Mr. Nadda, Honorable Health Minister, has come up with this statement. And as a government, and please understand, Barkha, if we are going to, and I'm not politicizing it as Radhika Bhattacharya of BJP, but on the 19th, we're talking here about women's safety. 3 rape cases were reported in Bengal on the 19th of August. One was a housewife who was gang raped in Katwa, another one in the 24th North Pargana where a minor was raped, and the family alleges that, that the police initially refused to lodge a complaint, and another minor in Murshidabad committed suicide after she was being raped. Now, what is the saddest thing is, Barkha, we are known as Bengalis. We are called Bhadraloks and Bhadra Mohilas. Unfortunately, every type of Bhadrata has been eroded, erased, and diminished from the state of West Bengal. When you rule using hooligans, using gunda power, having no concern or any respect for humanity or humane ways of governance, then you have a state which is like this. We are supposed to be the most spiritual.
Radhika, ma'am, to be fair, sexual violence is not exclusive to Bengal. I have no brief here for the Mamata government. I believe they have messed this up badly. But just today in Badlapur, and we can play those images for you, parents had to come onto the rail tracks, right? Parents had to come on the rail tracks to protest as 2 young nursery girls were sexually assaulted and the police didn't file an FIR. So there is an institutional problem here. This is not about one state or the other exclusively, and we need to call it out wherever we see it, without any whataboutery. Please complete your point, and then Sanjay Hegde. Radhika, ma'am.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can.
Right. So, of course, we understand it's a national issue because this is happening everywhere, but because today's discussions are pertaining to West Bengal, I'm making a comment on us Bengalis, us as a state, us as a political platform and us as a government, not us, the BJP, but Trinamool Congress as a government. Do you know why there is? Do you know why there is this sort of lack or complete apathy towards whether it's women or even men are not answering? A student in Jadavpur University, what happened? My point is, what should a leader do? If I were, I'm not privileged to be the Chief Minister of West Bengal, but if I were a woman, I were a lady, and I were the Chief Minister, I would come out like this and say, "Mujhe maaf kijiye. मैं आपकी माँ थी, मैं आपकी वो दीदी थी, मैं आपकी वो बहन थी. मेरा ये कर्तव्य था देखना कि मेरा शासन इस रूप से होता है कि इस रूप से होता है."
Okay, I got your point. I got your point there about why doesn't Mamata Banerjee come out and maybe just seek, express a moment of humility, a moment of conceding mistake. Sanjay Hegde, before I give the last word to our two young doctors, Sanjay Hegde, go ahead. I can't hear Sanjay. Yeah, now I can. Go ahead.
Well, at least the Supreme Court has taken very serious notice, and it has preferred not to sit on its hands. Maybe it's better lighting a candle than cursing the darkness. This has been an important inflection point. I do hope that the task force comes out with remedies for all healthcare professionals, and what happens there also translates into changes in society, because rape culture also is an offshoot of our patriarchal instincts as well.
Absolutely.
So there are many more conversations to be had, but for the moment, we have taken a few baby steps in the right direction.
Okay, I want to give the last word to Dr. Sukanya and Dr. Divyansh. Do go ahead, Sukanya and Divyansh, closing comments.
I don't wish to point out any names, but from our conversation here, I do find that when we are going on strike for such an important cause, I mean it's a very important issue which has happened, but the men in general, and the men of the nation, not everybody, but there are few men who feel that we are calling them out for whatever has happened. So what I would like to say is, here we are having this big protest because we are promoting feminism, but feminism is not feminists are not man haters. Some of my best friends are men. So all since my MBBS, I have been talking with my seniors, with my colleagues. All of them are men. Some of my best friends, even today, they're all supporting for this particular cause. So we are trying to promote feminism, which means equality of men and women. So it is not one above the other. So even if any violence, anything were to happen, even for my male counterpart, I would still stand. I would still stand in front, and I would definitely protest. I would protest for the rights of for all doctors in general, whether be it men or women. So it is not gender biased. But what has today happened with that lady, I am now shouting out, I am calling out for that lady so that she gets the justice that has to be given to her.
And at the same time, I would request all of the citizens. Yes, ma'am. I would like to request all of the citizens to basically teach each other some basic human values. Some basic moral values are missing in our current society. We also need to target on that. We have to sensitize them about each and every basic moral values that once we were taught in our nursery, KG, first class, second class, our parents used to teach. I don't understand that what is missing, what is lacking, why the people are not learning about the basic values. This conflict about feminism versus man hating is also one of the example of which is rooting from those lack of basic human values, ma'am.
Yeah. And in fact, Prasad makes the point that restricting female doctors at night will in fact create a staff shortage. Forget everything else. 60% of doctors topping the exams these days are women. Dr. Jaiswal, I just wanted to clarify to you, I did not in any way mean that this is a male versus female battle. But I do, with respect, disagree with the advisory to ask women to avoid the night shift, because it is like penalizing women for being vulnerable, because some men will not respect their dignity or their life or their right to a dream and their very right to life. So that is all I wanted to say to you. I know this conversation got a bit heated, and my apologies to everybody for that. That doesn't normally happen to me, but I think we're all very, very, very disturbed. And as the Chief Justice said today, this has been a moment of national catharsis, but it has also been a moment that has jolted the conscience of the country. A special word to the young doctors who have made this possible, who have ensured that this is not just another crime headline that comes and fades away. To Dr. Jaiswal, to Radhika Bhattacharya Shah, to Sanjay Hegde, to Dr. Sukanya and Dr. Divyansh, and earlier to Yogita Vihayana, thank you. And to our audience, thank you as ever for watching. Take care.
It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.